Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, fashion dolls, and welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie. My special guest this evening is a singer and songwriter, and he is here to talk about his newest single, Phone Don't Ring, along with his other hit singles, Candy-Coated Raindrops and Falling in Love. Those are a few of my favorites. I'm super excited to introduce my special guest, Will Preston. He will be joining me this evening for a very special exclusive primetime interview. I'm super duper excited about this interview right here. He is so talented, and he is here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Preston. Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. It is such a pleasure to meet you, and I'm so honored to be doing this interview. Your music is just amazing. You have a gift, like virtually you have a gift, and I'm so honored to be doing this interview with you.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be on this end with you. I've been watching some of your stuff, so you have some great stuff going on. You've had some really heavy hitters in for interviews, so I'm just honored to be
Yes.
amongst some of your guests.
All right. So your newest hit single, and then we're going to talk about your music, cause your music span up until now. So what made you get into music? What made you want to become a singer?
Um, Sorry, I'm going to take these out. I don't think they're functioning. I actually don't think it was ever a conscious decision to become a singer. I think that I've always loved music. I've always gravitated towards music and melody and lyrics, and it's just something, I guess, that was there. It was never anything that I deliberately set out to do. I just always loved music, and at a point in time decided that I wanted to record for myself, and that's kind of where my journey started.
Okay. My second question to you is, if you could go back and label one of your performances as your favorite, which one would that be? What is your favorite song to perform as well?
Uh, I love all of them. And I write the large majority of all of my songs. And so there's so many that I've written over the years. I know what the fan favorite typically is, Candy Coated Raindrops, but I think if I had to really think hard and you forced me to name a favorite, it would go back to the beginning. Probably It's My Will, just because it represented a moment in time that was really the establishment of who Will Preston has become as an artist. So going back to the earlier days, those songs just really, helped set the trajectory for me. And so I, would have to say, but honestly, I love them. I love them all. When I'm in the studio and I'm trying to really feel the song, I think that I walk away from every single song thinking this one just might be my favorite, or at least there's some element in it that I say, now that I did that. So, it just varies really.
Falling in Love is one of my favorites. It's something about that song, like when the beat comes on and the hook comes in, you automatically know the chorus and the hook and everything in the song. Like, that is one of my favorite songs. That's why I kept playing it in my stories, introducing and letting everybody know. Yes.
I said she's really feeling the song. I like that.
I love it.
That was actually from the Reacquainted project. Yes.
So, what's the writing process like for you when you're writing songs? Because I know every singer and songwriter has a process. They have a certain atmosphere when they're writing and producing their songs. So, what's the atmosphere like for you?
It really changes. It's a mood. It's a feeling. I am not the type of writer who can. Usually, I'm not the type of person that can sit down and deliberately write a song. It's something that has to hit me. It's something that comes at the most awkward times. It could be, when you're sleeping and you are dreaming and you have a melody and you wake up and you think, I better write that down or record it in the memo before I forget the melody. You could be at the grocery store. I have a lot of those moments where things just hit me and I'm not in a position to really sit down and write or to record, but I'll jot some things down, or I'll make some notes in my in my iPhone, or to get back to it later. Actually, one such thing happened this week, and so I was just thinking earlier. I hope I haven't forgotten that melody, but I did write the words down. So it just really varies, and in any particular topic, it just kind of varies as well. It has to be something for me that is organic and it just hits me.
And every one of your singles, from Phone Don't Ring, which is your newest hit single, to Falling in Love and Candy Coated Raindrops, Soul for Real was the first thing that came to my mind during the title of that song. But you put your own spin on it and you made it so different so it wouldn't seem as though it's like their version.
Right.
So how did that song come together collectively? Hi, Africans Arts.
So interestingly, I did not even think of Soul for Real song when I wrote that song. I remember that song, and I loved that song when I was growing up, but it was not in my mind when I wrote it. And so, interestingly, when the song was released, so many people thought that it was a kind of a remake of that song by just glancing at the title, and then of course they hear it and they realize that it's quite different. But Candy Coated Raindrops, I just remember being in the studio, and this was one of the songs that I had actually written to a track that had been given to me. And I have two methods of writing. Sometimes I just write lyrics, and we will and write the melody, and I'll have engineers or producers actually create a track based on the melody that I have provided. And sometimes I'm giving a track to review or something to listen to for an upcoming project, and I write that way. This happened to be something that I had written too. I had the lyrics, but once I heard that particular track, those lyrics just really came to life, and I just really saw the vein to really make that flow and to come to life. It's one of the songs that I really am proud of, because it took a considerable amount of time to record, just because I was in and out of the studio at that time. But it turned out to be a great song, and in fact, it's like my most downloaded and most streamed song, all over the world, not even here in the country, but everywhere. And so, I'm very proud of the fact that not only did I write that song, I produced that song. So, great.
And if everyone is going to love that song, they're going to love your newest song, because I heard a little bit of it and you had been promoting it all week long. So tell us a little bit about Phone Don't Ring. So how did this song come together? What was the inspiration behind this song?
Yeah, so Phone Don't Ring is just, I think it's a moment that everybody can probably, think back to in a relationship or getting out of a relationship. A lot of my songs just come to me, and I think of words, and I think of scenarios, and I think of different things that people could be going through, or pain that people could be experiencing. Some of songs are based on my own experiences, some are based on others, but Phone Don't Ring is really about, it's the ultimate breakup and redemption. Is trying to get over that person that you were madly in love with. And you're saying, I'm looking at my phone all the time, but it bothers me because it's not you. And it's not that you don't have options. It's not that you don't have options out there. It's just that everyone who's calling is not the person that should be calling. And so you're playing everything back in your mind about where did it go wrong, and should I answer the phone? And if I actually answer the phone and take this other call, that means I'm literally moving on. And so you're at a war with yourself, and you're saying, should I answer? I don't want to answer, but I want to answer. If I answer, I'm kind of over you. And so that's really how I wanted it to have kind of that plot twist in there. Should I really answer this call or not?
Okay. So what, in your opinion, what are the essential qualities that make a good musician? What, in your opinion, make a good musician?
First of all, I think it has to be natural. It has to be a feeling. I think when you're trying to chase someone else's sound, or when you're trying to replicate something that's already in the marketplace, you get lost in who you really are as an artist. So for me, it has to be authentic. I don't try to be the next anybody. I'm just, Will Preston, and my music can stand and will stand for itself. I appreciate and admire a lot of artists, but at the end of the day, I feel that I have to do my own thing. I think that for any aspiring singer or songwriter, you have to be true to who you are. And if you produce quality music, people are going to come to you and respect you for what you bring to the table instead of what you're trying to emulate from others.
Yes, and you do. You make quality music that women can relate to and that caters to us in a way, whereas most men that make music, most male R&B singers that are out here making music, is in a way. I did an interview with 112 and I said, in a way, your music is not degrading to us. It's almost as if you were catering to us. It's almost as if you're singing to us. And do you feel as though most male R&B singers, get put in a box, in a category, to produce specific type of music?
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is deliberate on the part of the singer, or it's a sign of where we are in the industry, or just the way we as men in general think. Um, but I know for myself, I think that love is mostly a positive thing. I think that if you sing about love, you typically sing about or think about the greatness in love. Obviously, I sang my share of heartache as well, but that's all a part of that story. Um, but but degrading women has never been a thing for me. It's not something that I can even conceive. So it's nothing that ever enters the element of my my writing process. I just would it just doesn't occur to me to write a lyric that would be degrading. So it is unfortunate that. Uh, but the thing that you said, Miss Stevie, that's so interesting about many of the men who do that, it sells, and unfortunately, it sells well. And so you have to imagine that there are a lot of women also, buying these records. So I can't say that there's not an audience out there for it, but I can say that with Will Preston, it's not what we do.
At all. And my girlfriend, my bestie in the audience, she says, this Brisky says, all you really hear is sex, money, drugs, etc. And they don't make music the same. I agree with that statement because when I did my interview with 112, I said, do you feel as though R&B is dead, like it's lost its touch, like back then how music was up until now? Like now it's just like what she just said, which is sex, money, drugs. But your music, I'm an old soul. I'm 26 and I listen to people like Luther
Hmm.
Vandross and yes, every now and again Keith Sweat and Peebo Bryson and so many, just to name a few. But for me as a woman, I want to be catered to. I
Yeah.
don't want to be talked down to or degraded. And that's what you're seeing nowadays in some of all of this music. Hey, Nisi.
Yeah, but you're right. And so, I listen to all of those singers you just named. I have a great respect and admiration for all of them, especially Luther Vandross. And I think about what I'm drawn to when I listen to music, and those that I enjoy the most are, people who tell a story. And melodically, it's soothing and pleasing. And but I really listen for a story, and all of those singers really tell stories, and they really feel what they're singing about, and they're more uplifting and empowering than anything. I had the opportunity, honestly, to see Peebo Bryson just not too long ago in Atlanta, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful concert. So I'm he's slightly outside of my generation, but it's a sound and music that I thoroughly enjoy, because I look at those guys as really the ones who set the stage for people like the Tanks and the Joes and the Calvin Richardson and
Yes.
Usher and all the rest of us who sing the soulful music, the Eric Robersons, all of us to kind of walk in that path. They really opened the doors. Teddy Pendergrass, Barry White, all of those great guys who really, really paved the way.
And I can tell that Luther Vandross and Peebo Bryson has been somewhat of an influence from just the way you sound, like your riffs and your runs and so many things that you do in your music. You can tell that they've been an influence in your music career. So who are some of your other influences that influence you musically?
I would have to say, like I said, I always say I like singers, but everybody, I guess, who's making music is a singer. But I gravitate towards the soulfulness. I love, like you said, Luther Vandross, Gladys Knight.
Oh,
I love Gladys Knight. You know, I love Harry Connick Jr. I like Michael Bublé. Um, it's just so many. Gerald Levert. I was always a big fan of Gerald Levert. Again, Teddy Pendergrass, a lot of the old heads. But I think about the sounds that I just enjoy. If I were just sitting and listening to music on any given day, it would be current music, but I would also go back to the Anita Baker. I'd go back to Joe, current all the way back to some of his older music, D'Angelo. I listen to a lot of gospel as well, so I love any of the Winans, all of them. I have just an eclectic taste in music, I guess. I listen from anything from country to pop to, anything that feels good to me and sounds good. I don't box my enjoyment into a category.
Okay. And my next question to you is, because this is a great conversation, what's some of the best advice you've been given in your music career? Just in life. What's some of the best advice that you've received?
Keep going, keep doing it. I think that people will have to um, ultimately realize that success is defined by your own definition. You have to realize when you've been successful based on your own terms. It's not always, you have young singers who have the aspiration. What means success to them is winning the Grammy or seeing themselves performing on XYZ stage. But there's so much from point A to that point that will get you there. And it is, it's a fallacy that success is overnight. It really is not. The people that you see who are quite successful have invested, most of the time, have invested a great deal of time, a great deal of money, and a great deal of mentorship in that process. And so I think that the best advice that, I was given probably early on was with one of my producers, Funky Boy. And he always said, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy you. I remember recording the It's My Will project, which was my first full project that I had recorded. And he just urged me to just enjoy every single moment because, it was all about, finding out who I was as an artist and, not being consumed by whatever else was going on in the music world.
Okay, okay. So speaking of in the music world, if you could collaborate with any singer that's out currently or if they're passed on, who would that be?
Hmm. So
Did I stump
many.
you?
There's so many. Um, I like a lot of the indie artists because that's really my lane. That's where I've kind of been, and I've gotten to know quite a few of them and have shared some opportunities with them. But I would say that someone that I would really love to work with would be Eric Roberson. I've never had the opportunity to work with him. Um, I would say. Uh, hmm, Alicia Keys. I would love to be able to work with an Alicia Keys. I think she is so talented. I could just envision us being able to do something magical together. So many though. I mean, there's so many people. I think you said past or present. Who wouldn't want the opportunity to have worked with an Aretha Franklin or Luther Vandross or someone of that caliber? Um, it's just so many though.
I kind of knew the direction you was gonna go in with this question. I was thought you were gonna say Whitney as well too, because Whitney's one of my
Well,
favorite singers.
Whitney, I always consider when we have these conversations, I always think that I don't mention her, but I kind of think that it's a given. That to
Yes.
me, she was the greatest to ever do it, male or female. And so I think that, putting her in that place and in that category almost deems her untouchable. But of course, who wouldn't want the opportunity to record with the voice of an angel? I mean, she was the greatest.
Yes. Untouchable, unmatchable, like the greatest voice of all time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so my next question to you is if you could change anything about the music industry, what would that be?
The imagery, the push to sensationalize, the push to sexualize, as you mentioned earlier, the degradation of women. Um, I really think it can be a tough, vicious industry. I think that, being an independent artist shields you from a lot of that because you call the shots and you do, what you want to do on your own terms. And so you're shielded from a lot. Of course, you might not be presented with some opportunities if you don't play the game right. But I think that in terms of, a lot of the negativity that surrounds the industry, I mean, you talk about people who've passed away from untimely, I guess I would say, from Whitney on to others. I mean, the industry got to them, and so it's one of those things that it's ugly. It's a lot of fun, but at the same time, that fun can lead you down a very dark path if you are not careful.
And I'm just gonna break the ice and have the discussion right now with you as well too, because I did it yesterday with, or was it the day before, with actor Eamon Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
We had the same conversation as well too about how people lose themselves in the industry, and I've seen it happen to so many great singers and performers like Jimi Hendrix and Phyllis Hyman and so many others. They get so wrapped up in the industry that they lose sight of who they are.
Right.
And I would like for you to, if you would love to, if you could tell some of your fans and followers that are looking, that want to become a singer, what is some of the best advice that you would give them?
I would say keep pushing. I would say define what you are trying to get out of this. I can tell you that at the end of the day, if your goal is to become famous, if your goal is to have a number one record, I think you might be missing the mark, because I think that true artistry comes from a place of genuine desire to just do it. I think that when that hit happens, you will be prepared for it. But in general, I never sit down to write a hit. I sit down to write something that feels good to me. And in that process, I think it connects with people, and I'm appreciative and I'm glad that it resonates with others. But I don't sit down to chase any particular success. And so I think that's what people who aspire to do this long term should go into it with that same mindset. It can be a career, but there's steps. And I think that, again, the overnight success is really a fallacy. It takes hard work, it takes perseverance, determination, and I would advise to just keep going. Keep going. Even when you define success and you feel that you fell short, you just keep going. It doesn't mean that you aren't good. It doesn't mean that you aren't worthy of adulation and praise. It just might mean that it's not your time. And I'm a firm believer that, all things come at the right time. You just keep doing what you're doing, keep enjoying what you're doing. And I think as long as you enjoy it, and as long as you keep pushing, that your success will come. In whatever way you define it, it will come to you in the end.
And also, you're a father as well too. You have a daughter.
I am. Yeah.
What would you give her? What advice would you give her if she wants to get into the industry? Like, would you be one of those helicopter parents? Because I've seen when children get into the industry and their parents, that have been singers and things like that, they are in it.
Well,
they're managing every move, every step of the way. So, if your daughter came to you and said, "Dad, I want to be a singer," what would you do?
So it's already happened, and she is the world. But she is very excited about anytime I'm in the studio. I have a studio in my home, and so whenever I'm down recording, it's never a quiet session of Daddy working. It's always I'm going to get the interruption, but it's fun, and she's excited to do it, and she's excited to record, and she writes, she makes up songs, and she's 6 years old, but she makes up songs, and she's got her own thing, and I would be that parent that if this is something she wants to pursue, I'm going to be there every step of the way. I'm going to encourage her. I'm going to fund it. I'm going to allow it. I will do whatever is necessary to help her. But at the same time, she has to understand that it's hard work. What she sees Daddy doing, it took me many years to learn how to do many things, whether that's vocally or working the boards in the studio or, just some of the other things. It just takes practice. And so right now she's at the stage that she just wants to see the results, right? So she wants to come in the studio and sing, and then you play it back and she's like, well, why does it sound like that? Well, we have to work on some things. You have to hit this note, or you have to do that. But it has already happened at her. I want to say I don't know, kindergarten graduation or preschool graduation, I guess. And they called all the kids on stage and they asked them what they want to be when they grow up, and her response was, I think she said, a singer like my daddy, or something like
Oh.
that. She said so. She's already been.
So you're starting her off early, and who was that? I think that was, I cannot remember his name. It was Damian T. Raven, actor Damian T. Raven, and he says that his daughter is in the process of wanting to become an actress. Like, she's the same age as your daughter, 6 years old, and he's already working with her, training her. She's going to school for it and everything at a young age. So yes, you got to start them off young. But another thing is you can't, when you have children that are getting into the industry, is that you can't allow them to become alienated. They can't lose sight of who they are and remain focused. And more importantly, stay in school. Education is the key thing. So another thing, could you stress to your fans and followers how important education is?
Well, I'll tell you, and I can tell you by being on this end of it, education has always been extremely important to me. I've always, as an adult, worked on music, but I've also pursued other career paths. I've pursued education. I went to college and got my undergraduate degree in finance. I worked as a financial analyst for many years. I went back to school and got my master's in business education. I was a college instructor. I was a dean. But even I went on further and I earned my doctorate. So, I've been through the whole scale of education. And so I can tell you that it has truly opened doors for me. And obviously, being a black male in America, I think that the more you can do to position yourself for greatness, the better off you are in the long term. But education is so vitally important. I never wanted to be a struggling artist. And I know a lot of people might cringe to hear that because they feel that if you want to live your passion, you have to be all into your passion. Well, I just feel that I have so much life to live in this one opportunity that we're given. And I never wanted to be a struggling artist in any aspect. I like nice things. I like to do things. I want to be able to provide in a certain way. And so I've always done things that would elevate me, but that would also work in tandem with my music. And so if I didn't have a project out, or if I didn't have, certain things down the pike, I was never, someone having to wonder and worry about, getting back in the studio to have a hit record. That just wasn't my journey. And I was determined that would never be my journey. So it was a passion, but I didn't allow it to dominate me. I felt that education was always going to be that one thing that I could rely on when everything else could potentially fail. Thankfully, nothing has ever failed, but in that regard. But no one can take that from you once you have it.
Yes, and to add on to that, I'm going to get a comment from my girl Nisi. Make sure you guys go and shop Blue Haze Clothing. She is the founder of Blue Haze Clothing along with my girlfriend Babs. And she says her daughter is 6 and she wants to do it all. Yes, your children want to start off young. They want to start off young in the industry. They start banging on pots and pans, and then the next thing you know, they'll start asking for a piano or a keyboard or something, to expand in their career. This is something passionate about what they're doing. Sky's the limit.
Machines,
so
everything.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that she's past the banging on the pots and pans stage, and she's fidgeting, trying to figure out what goes where with music and everything.
Right. They bang on anything. She'll bang on anything. So, yes.
It'll be time when they start, because I think it was Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson, in an interview, she said that her son asked for, I think, what was it, a cello or something. Wow. It was some sort of a musical instrument. And she said, baby, we don't have a cello. So what she did was she took a straw and she taped it to the thing and made it seem as though it was a cello of some sort. Right. And then she went and she bought him one. Yes, dance moves and videos too. Yes, children, they're starting to learn now. Technology is powerful, and these babies, they are learning fast. So especially when it comes to music, if this is something that they're passionate about. I encourage her all the time, but now she wants to post and be on social media. Ooh, yeah, we got to watch that.
yeah, we got to watch that. We don't allow that for her yet. 6 is just way too young for that. But in my view, I'm not telling anyone how to parent, but for me, that's quite young.
And yes, the music industry is very cutthroat. So more importantly, it's the parents out here that are in the industry. We have to make sure that they're grounded and that they're surrounded with great people and great energy and love, and more importantly that they love what they do, you know, because some people, I told her maybe, and I'll be controlling it, these people are yes,
Yeah.
yes. So shout outs to all the parents out there monitoring what their babies are doing, especially when it comes to their career, you know, music, as they get older, because, you know, singers like Brandy and Monica, they all started off so young. They started off in the choirs, they started
Right.
off locally doing things, and then they shot up in their music career very fast,
That's
very
right.
fast. So they didn't really have the time for, you know, childhood. And some celebrities are like that. Some singers are like that. They don't have the time to have a childhood. You know, it's either go to school, you work, you perform, you're doing concerts, it's back and forth on the road. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, my girl Tipsy Trisha says yes to encourage, promote safely. Yes, this is a good conversation because this is great dialogue for parents out here who wants to know what can I do if my child wants to be, you know, what I like to call them. Y'all seen in Living Color, right? And
Yeah.
it's a character on there that Kim Wayne's played called Lil Magic. So Lil Magic thought she could do it all. I'm pretty sure that every one of us have a little magic. You know, they want to act, they want to sing, they want to dance. And Brandy, she even said that in the interview. She said, I'm going to be a dancer, I'm going to be an actress, I'm going to do all of these things, I'm going to sing. And look at her now. And they
Right.
call her the vocal Bible unmatched because of the way she sings. Like, she definitely is. She has a gift. And
She's
so do
amazing.
you, Mr. Will Preston. You
Well,
have a
thank you.
gift too.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Any questions, audience? Do we have any questions for Will? This is such a great conversation because parents need to know these things. You know, babies, we're in quarantine right now and they're not able to go back into the schools. They're doing things online, you know, Zoom classes or whatever, without this, you know, this pandemic going on. We have to make
Right.
sure that our babies are safe. So my daughter's 3 and she has a YouTube channel. Oh, so she wants to be a little, well, I have seen that. I have seen that where kids will actually do reviews on toys. It's one kid in
Yeah.
particularly, and he is doing reviews on toys. And he's already getting sponsorships and deals. And I'm just like, wait, if only I was 8 years old.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's like they do the whole unpackaging and the whole, you know, they really get into it. It's a market out there for that. So it's amazing.
So
But
these
the
kids are
good thing is that
smart.
it's really teaching them to become entrepreneurs at a very early age, and so you're really
Yes.
giving them that avenue. So it really can be a very positive thing. Like one of the other um, guests was saying, or listeners was saying, was that you know, you just have to monitor it. As the parent, you need to be in control of it and to make sure that you know, you're keeping a close eye on that.
Yes, my girl Nishi J said that, and my girl Tipsy Trisha says, love that you're encouraging your daughter to pursue her goals. It's very hard to find places to promote children that won't take advantage of children. Yes, because more importantly, you don't want them to feel alienated. You don't want them to feel jaded. You don't want them to feel any of these things that the industry has to offer, because the
Right.
music industry, just like the fashion industry, for me is cutthroat. I've had some doors closed in my face, and you know, I've been rejected for interviews several times, but the thing is, I've kept pursuing, I've kept pushing, I've kept going, because I guess it was people felt that the energy was going to be off. But me, I'm very powerful when it comes to reading people's energy. Like, I won't do anything if I feel that the person's energy is going to be off. But this is just so right. The stars aligned perfectly between me and Will when I reached out to him, because I was scrolling down. I'll tell you how I found you. I was scrolling down Instagram and I played some of your music, and I'm just like, wow. As a woman, because you know, women, you gotta feel it, ladies. You gotta feel it. So I'm just like, wow, who is this?
Yeah.
So
And then I
let me
remember
go
when
and
you
listen
when
to some more.
and
Go
then you
ahead. I'm
contacted me and we
sorry.
were trying to figure out the date, and I think that we have a date and we switched the date, but I'm glad it all worked out. And so yes, I was quite excited to do it, and I just started, like I said, looking more at your work and what you were doing. And so I'm just excited for you too, because like I said, you're getting a lot of traction, a lot of great things coming your way. So it's just been, and you conduct very good interviews. They're very thorough.
Oh, thank
And
you.
it's one of it, you know, some interviews you just kind of want to do to check off. You know, you check off to say, okay, got that done. It was a request. Let's do it. Let's get it done. But you make it an environment in which it's relaxed, and you don't mind talking and sharing. And so, you know, great job for help putting your interviewees at ease, so to speak.
Yeah, when people come on my platform, I want people to know that they're at home. I want people to relax, and that's why I did this interview with you. With everything that's going on, I wanted people to have an escape. You know, for parents, you got to have, and I know I talked to my girl Tipsy Treasure about this. There's these days where, you know, sometimes mothers, they love their glass of wine and they'll put
Yeah.
on their music and, you know, a nice relaxing bubble bath, just something, an escape. So that's why I've been doing a lot of interviews with a lot of R&B artists, because
Mhm.
R&B is something about music. It is something about a singer. You know, singers are like therapists for us, and I said this in one of my previous interviews. Like, you guys just do not know the impact that you have on all of our lives. Like, you guys
Thank you.
inspire us. You are medicine. You give us medicine, and your music is the medicine. So in a
Thank you.
way, you guys are doctors. You're so welcome, because I want people to relax, especially your parents. They're stressed out because they have to watch these kids on Zoom class conferences and all of these things,
Right.
PTA meetings. And I just wanted you guys, when you come on my platform, when you come here on Style by Stevie, I want you guys to relax, unwind, get yourself a glass of wine, just enjoy the interviews, ask questions, take in this information because it's vital, and have fun. Like, I really, you know, I wouldn't set up anything if I knew that the vibes would be off. So
Yeah,
this
Tipsy
just
says soul
aligned
doctors,
perfectly.
which that's a wonderful, wonderful description. But I think it's just, it's good to hear that. Like I said, as artists, a lot of times I don't think we don't really probably think that far as to how it's impacting others. And um, earlier today, I had a message from someone who said that he had my "It's My Will" project, which was the first project, and he had a signed poster still. I guess that he had gotten through a promo way back then, and so it's just always good to hear those stories and to know that you've been a part of the smiles that people have had over the years, or that you in some way impacted or helped to ease a mood, or even if it's a sad song, sometimes you need to hear it to help you get through. You know that someone else can relate to what you're going through or what you've been through. So it's good and refreshing to hear that. And honestly, that's fuel enough. That's success in and of itself, knowing that you've impacted at least one other person outside of yourself, and made life a little more enjoyable at some point in time for them.
And I was just about to say that, like, I'm pretty sure you get a lot of DMs from your fans saying, you know, this song has inspired me. This song has made me fall in love again. Thank you for helping me find my husband to this song, or thank you for helping me find my wife, or good job. I'm pretty sure you get a lot of those DMs from your fans.
Yeah, I do. I do. I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of comments and a lot of posts. It's interesting. I've always been into social media, but I've never been the um, quite the poster or the updater. And so I'm like most people. I guess I like to go on there and see what's happening and see what's going on. So I had an Instagram account many years ago, and took it down at one point, just because it just wasn't used. I believe it had gotten hacked or something. But more recently, reactivated an account, or started being much more active in it, and to just really watch, the followership go up, and it's truly organic. It's truly, people reconnecting and say, glad to see you on Instagram. Didn't know you had an Instagram account. So, I'm glad to hear about your music, and oh, that song, meant so much. It said this, and it really is growing fast again, and so I'm excited about that. But yeah, but it's always good, and I have people who obviously help me with certain aspects of social media and different things that we do. But I literally read all of my messages. I respond. So if you get a response, it really is from me. And I engage and I interact. And the great thing about it is I'm very grateful for everyone who is connected with me. And I use that term fan, so I still cringe somewhat when I hear that. But people who really love and appreciate my music here in the United States. But the most phenomenal thing to me is that I get messages and things from people all over the world. And my music has traveled all over the world. And so it's just wonderful to be able to connect beyond our borders here. Just, our technology is so advanced today that it just
Yes.
truly is amazing. And I think a lot of times we take so much for granted, but there's so much that we can do to impact globally, just by sheer nature of the technology that we have at our disposal today.
I agree 100% with that. It's amazing how technology has brought everyone together, especially with, this pandemic going on. And sometimes some people are not able to see their family members or whatever. And just something can take a lot of stress off of a person just from popping in a song. Like music, again, they say music calms the savage beast. You know,
Yeah,
we go through a lot and it's a lot going on with this election and everything, but I just wanted
yes,
people to take a load off and relax, just have a temporary escape, you know, focus on the big
yeah,
issues but kind of don't focus on the big issues, just relax, it's gonna be
right.
okay. And people sometimes need somebody to tell them, like, okay, it's gonna be okay, and it's okay to not be okay. There's gonna be
That's right.
days when, you know, you're gonna be angry, you're gonna be sad, but you find something to shift your focus just a little bit. And for me, I've been stressed out, but your music and listening to music and writing and putting these interviews together and conducting things, that's what keeps my mind and challenges my mind. It keeps me going.
That is awesome. Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it's and you've got to. You just got to. You have to live, and you know, music, like you said, can be a temporary escape. But we all need
Yes.
that escape, whether it's at night when we're dreaming or during the day when we need that moment. And it's amazing that music can really take you to another place, to truly a place where you've forgotten all about the most immediate cares of the day. And that's not careless to do that. It's an opportunity to uh, remember that you're alive, remember that you're human, to remember that you know there is a positivity in life, and there's so much more beyond the current circumstance and what you might be dealing with today.
Yes.
And so you know that's just true for me too. You know, you know, I'll put on music to just kind of escape, or put on music to just let my mind wander, or you know, it's just in the world we live in today. I think that music is probably more necessary um, than perhaps at any other time. It is a unifier, and we need more unity today than I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Especially in these polarizing times, these times, music heals the soul. Yes, girl. And you see, I agree 100%. It does. And it impacts you. You know, there's days when people just don't want to wake up out of bed. They feel awful. You know, they wake up and they feel like they've just lost everything. Or, you know, it could be a certain feeling, but they just pop on that one song and it gets their mood going. You know, it keeps them going and it motivates them.
Right.
So, and you already know my favorite is Falling in Love. So
Falling in love.
it's something about that song. I don't know what it is, but if you guys haven't heard it, please go and download it, stream it, check it out, and stream Will's newest song, Phone Don't Ring. And I've heard some of it. It'll be dropping soon. Please go and check it out. Do we have any questions before we wrap up? If you have any
Go check it
questions,
out,
type
Miss
it in
Stevie.
the
It
comment
actually came
section.
out last night, so go check it out. It's streaming everywhere. Phone Don't Ring is on, you know, everywhere: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, anywhere that you can find music, you will find it. It's the second single to my upcoming project, which will be released next month, and I'm excited
Okay.
about that. And so the first single from the project was "Never Knew Love," which was released about 2 months ago, and then this is "Phone Don't Ring," and it's so much more goodness coming your way. And so you'll have to stay close and stay tuned. But the end of the year is going to be a very exciting time for me and everyone who follows me and my music. So I'm looking forward to what the coming weeks and months will bring.
I can't wait for your EP to drop. And Never Knew Love is another one of my favorites. Like, it's something about that song. I don't want to say it sounds too kind of sexy, but it'll get you in the mood. It's a
Yeah.
get you in the mood type of song. The beat, the feel of it. It's just like I imagine raindrops on the window pane. Something.
It's a
It's
whole
just
mood,
something.
right? It's a whole mood.
Yes, definitely. That song. If you guys haven't heard it, please go and check that one out. Never Knew Love, Phone Don't Ring, and then my favorite is Falling in Love, and it just. I don't know. It's just something about that song that just gives me goosebumps and it makes me feel good and it uplifts me. Like there's hope.
That's awesome. That's what it's meant to do. So that's great.
All right, any questions before we conclude this amazing interview? It was such a pleasure having you here.
It was such a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much. And again, stay close, and we'll be in touch as things continue to unfold. And I welcome the opportunity anytime. So thank you so much.
Definitely, and I would love to have you back on when you're ready to release that project to talk about it.
Okay.
All right, if we don't have any questions, we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I love you all, and y'all please be safe. Sir King will be joining me in the next hour. Take care, everyone, and you take care too. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye bye.